something a little bit different this time. I'm going to show you some of the sewing that I do. Every man should know how to sew. What I'm going to do here is I've got one of these Costco, in the United States these are called Costco down throws or down quilts. You can get these from the UK under the brand Double Black Diamond. See if we can get that a bit closer for you. Packable down throw. So it's basically a down blanket, lightweight down blanket. It's filled with supposedly 700 full power duck down. And as you might be able to make out, in a stitch through construction in these little pockets. Okay, so you've got little puffy pockets of down and sewn through, stitching through here that goes straight through the fabrics. There's no baffle or anything like that. So probably the beauty with these is that they're cheap. You can pick these up. I've picked up some, they're around about £20, £19–20 a pop. So relatively cheap. Now, what sort of the advantage with this over maybe making something from scratch is that if you haven't been doing any sewing before, this takes away a lot of the guesswork, because essentially it's ready made for you. It's got the down in it already. The stitching's in place. You've got the size and everything. So you don't have to be cutting fabric. So it's quite a good DIY project if you're new to sewing. All right. Now the reason why I'm doing this, I'm actually making this for my daughter as a sort of a backpacking quilt. We're not going to just leave it like this. There's a lot of little mods and bits and pieces we're going to do. So we'll go through like the step-to-step version of what I'm doing and how I'm doing it. So some ideas on this. So to give you an idea, full weight-wise, complete weight of this is 450 grams, including the stuff sack. Comes a little, where is it here? A little stuff sack. It goes into. Right. So you're probably thinking this has probably got about maybe, that's hard to tell because you don't know the exact weight of the fabric. Probably get about 150, maybe, probably you'd be pushing it saying it's 200 grams a down. It's probably about around 170 grams a down, something like that in it. So it's going to be, in this format like this, it's going to be quite a summer quilt. It's going to be really, really light. We're going to take it a little bit further than that, so and add a few extra bits and pieces to it. So to give you an idea of dimensions as well, it's 1.75 meters long, so it's not massively long, and it's 1.45 wide. Now that's from my measurements. I've had 2 or 3 of these. They do vary a little bit, so just bear that in mind. I think it says on the packet it's supposed to be 177 by 152. It's not. It's quite a bit smaller than that overall. So bear that in mind. So if you're going to be 6 foot or something, it's not really going to be long enough. You're going to have to get 2 and start joining them together, which gets more complicated. So I've gone with this one because my daughter, I'm pretty sure my daughter's not going to get as tall as I am, so this should probably last if she looks after it a very, very long time. So what we're going to do, start off, I'll just explain what I'm going to actually do with it, and then I'll do little videos as we go along about what I actually do so you get an idea. So essentially this is a big square, and we're going to try and turn this into a quilt, a backpacking quilt that has a zipper foot box with a draw cord on it, draw cord on the end, the other at the head end with a baffle, and I'm going to put some straps on it so it goes onto your sleeping mat. So we need a zipper. Any old zipper will do. YKK obviously are the best. If you've been out and about, they seem to be the strongest zipper. These are fairly cheap. Pick them up for 2 or 3 quid. I've got this one here. This is about 20 inches, I think. It's 51 centimeters. I've got another one coming because I think this is a little bit short because she's quite short. So it's going to be a long way before her feet going because she's only just coming up to 8. So I was going to make a longer zip so it makes a bit more of a mummy shape at the bottom. Word on thread, you want to get some decent thread to put on it. Generally, the consensus is that you use polyester thread. This is Coates Epic, which is not a bad thread. You can use Gudemans as well. For this, it's not going to be under a massive amount of stress, so I'm just going for just a standard polyester thread. It's not going to have to be anything special. It's not technical fabric or anything like that, so that should do the job quite nicely. Black, because, hey, that's what I got. So what we first begin to do, so essentially we're going to form a foot box out of this, and what we're going to do is run a draw cord around the bottom, and then the zipper is going to be going into here like this to form a foot box. So it's going to be able to be zipped up, and then the draw cord is going to gather the end in so that you have a gathered end like that that keeps your foot warm. Right. So what I do, I'm lucky enough to have a little bit of leftover fabric in a different. This is another quilt that I've used. This is leftover fabric. I'm going to utilise this to make draw cords out of. I'm going to sew the draw cords onto here, so I'm not really going to need to do much with the bottom of this, messing around too much. And I'll also use that also to make a draft tube at the top where it goes around your neck, so it just gives a tube basically to keep the heat in around your neck when you've got it gathered in. So we're going to use that for that. So you would have to, if you're doing this yourself, you probably have to get some extra fabric, so some downproof fabrics. It's got to have relatively high thread count. So we're doing that because recycling, I've got it anyway, so I'm going to run with that. Now, as you see with these, with this construction, obviously having the sewn through, these little pockets, I kind of measure them with my veneer calipers, and they're around about 25 mils thick in the center of this. So obviously you're not going to get it uniformed, might be able to see that, not going to get a uniformed thickness of down because of these pockets are sewn in, so you're going to have big puffy bits, and then there's going to be very little insulation through these stitch marks. So to minimise that and to maximise the amount of warmth it's got, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be unstitching the horizontal stitching points. So that's the long way, top to bottom, so it's foot to head end. This is across your body. We're going to take these stitch marks out from across your body. And what that allows it to do is it then allows the down to form channels from top to bottom, and that will let the down loft a bit more, so you're going to minimise those cold spots. Also means that I'm going to unstitch the end of this and actually put more down in it, so that it'll create big long continuous baffle, well not baffles, but they're like channels from the top to the bottom all the way up, and so therefore when I put more down in it, I can distribute it top to bottom. I wouldn't be obviously be able to do that with these stitch marks in the middle. So it's a bit of a painstaking job. I've done the first baffle there just to give you an idea of what it's going to look like. Generally find when I've done it before, I haven't had any down coming through it. There's not a lot of feathers in here. I think it's 90% down, 10% feathers, so it's not much poking through. So I haven't had much leakage in the past when I've done this. So that will, that'll give you those channels that you can put extra down in. So I'm probably thinking I'm going to be putting an extra, maybe 100 grams, maybe a bit more. See how we go, to see what happens when I put 100 grams in there and see what it looks like. Trying to make a quilt that's going to give her not quite 3-season usage, but kind of creeping into 3-season with maybe a liner or something inside it. She's probably going to use this as a summer camping quilt, but she does tend to feel the cold a little bit, as most women do. So I just wanted to maximise the insulation for her, so she has a bit more warmth with it. And also, later on, if she obviously looks like after, if she wants to go travelling or something like that with it, it's going to be warm enough for that. All right, so that gives you an idea. So what we're going to do is we're going to go through and we'll unstitch this lot, get it looking nice, and then I'll go through and show you how I go about doing the rest of it. So fire away. So whack some comments in the comments box. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you next time.